Today we're going to be making some tapioca pudding or sago pudding, Baidawi's granny's recipe, but dairy free. So today we're going to be making some sago pudding or tapioca pudding as the internet calls it, with some cuisine, sago, tapioca pearls, sago, same thing. And we have our sago. I use 3/4 cup of sago and a cup of water, or you could use milk or whatever. And I soaked it with some spices. So we have cardamom pods, bay leaf, cinnamon, and some clove. And they're nice and plump now, so we're gonna go drain it. So we drain the sago, and the reason I at least wash or soak and then drain the sago is to remove some of the starch, because when you cook it, I feel like if you don't remove the starch, you end up with like sago cake instead of sago pudding. And this is one of those things you could soak the sago pearls overnight, and then in 15 minutes the next morning you have breakfast. Now Baidawi's granny's recipe has milk and water. My dairy-free version is I use coconut milk from the can. And we're just gonna light our little stove here. Always afraid of Baidawi's stove. It's scary. Anyway, so we're gonna drop in our coconut cream. I guess if you wanted to use almond milk or soy milk or any of those other milk alternatives, dairy milk alternatives, you can. I just like the flavor that I get out of the coconut milk in the sago pudding. The flavor is maybe the real reason I use it. And we're gonna drop the sago in here. I find that this doesn't need a lot of sugar, because I, after this, top it with a bunch of other things. And I'm going to use a little sugar to get some flavor out of it. But you could also use honey or agave or anything. So anybody who's diabetic or has problems like that, you could always switch up your recipe just a little bit and sweeten it however you would like. So it could be dairy-free, sugar-free as well. Now I left our spices in there. So we have our bay leaf, our cardamom pods, our clove and cinnamon. And I'm going to add to it a little bit of vanilla, some tonka bean, my personal favorite, and a little bit of nutmeg as well. So start with my favorites. Generally, I feel like people have an aversion to tonka bean, and I don't know why, but personally, I find it to be one of those very versatile local ingredients. Not the tonka bean fruit, but the seed. It's actually one of my favorite spices, and it has a kind of vanilla undertone to it as well, and it pairs well with so many things. And I feel like for a country that doesn't produce vanilla but has tonka bean growing in every corner in the bush, you could use something else to flavor the things that you already have to use. So, personal preference. I had an intern once that grated this shell on the outside of nutmeg for me, and I almost had a hissy fit. I'm like, where you live in? It can't be Trinidad. Or you didn't know to crack the nutmeg or the thing. So confused. Anyway, moving on with life. Ah! I'm so sorry. Right, so again, this is gonna move super quick, as you can see. So my tell with the sago is the pearls actually get a little bit clear when they're done. So almost all of the pearls are clear here. So this is the point I wanna drop in a little dash of salt, a little pinch of salt. I put salt in everything, just personal preference, but I feel like salt enhances the flavor of everything that is sweet. And I'm gonna add approximately 2 tablespoons of sugar here, approximately, and my vanilla. Now I add vanilla in last usually because it's something that gets kind of lost unless it goes in last. Okay, so I am adding a little bit of water, and that's because it was as thick as I wanted it to be as a final product, and that's not what you want. You want it to be a little bit runnier than the final product is supposed to be, because when it sits to cool, it gets a lot thicker. So your little bit of water is going to help you along the way of it being the right consistency at the end. My mother and my grandmother grew up eating sago, but my mom is not one of those traditional moms who make all these things at home, and you know, you come home and you find drops and sweetbread and think, nah, that's not my mom. That might be my dad, but that's not my mom. So the first time I've actually ever had sago, I made it for myself, and I was in my 20s. But I mean, I liked it initially, so I don't see why not. Okay, and we're done. If you could see, all of the beads are nice and clear. You see that they have a translucent kind of color. You lock off and just, you can let it sit. And at this point, I would spoon it out into your bowl and let it cool in your bowl, because in here, it's not going to cool that quickly. So this is our granola, and it was very simple. All I did was I had approximately 3 cups of dry ingredients, dry as in oats, nuts, seeds, coconuts, whatever you want to put as your 3 cups, doesn't matter as long as it's 3 cups, and some sugar and some pancake syrup and a little bit of oil, and what else went in there? Some vanilla, and I just made sure the sugar was dissolved, threw it in, mixed it together, and I baked it for approximately 10 minutes on 350 degrees until it's nice and golden. And I mean, it's real nice. And this stays in a jar in your pantry for maybe a month, and you could just throw it on top yogurt, on top sago pudding, on top cereal, anything you want to throw it on top of. So it's just one of those fun, even eat in front of the TV things and don't feel bad about it after. And it's real nice. Oh, try this. Let's try this. Yeah. Little shredded coconuts. So we have our sago breakfast bowl over here, topped with our homemade granola, some toasted coconut, some passion fruit, and a few almonds. I'm gonna give it a taste. So I must say, I would prefer this over yogurt. It has this creamy texture. It honestly is more filling than a yogurt bowl would be. And that flavor from the coconut is much better than just using regular milk. That's why I use the coconut. And the granola has a nice crunch to offset the smooth creaminess of the sago pudding. Perfect balance between each other. And then you have all of these other things. So you'll have the tartness from your passion fruit and the crunchy nuts on the side, and then the more coconut to accentuate the coconut flavor. It's gonna be perfect. And I mean, of course, you could play with your different toppings, whichever fruit you have, whatever nuts you might have on hand, but I feel like my flavor combination was, in my personal opinion, the best. So just try it. It's super easy. 15 minutes in the morning and you're done. Just put it to soak the night before and perfect. Easy. A special thanks to Massey Stores for sponsoring this episode. Go to Massey Stores, pick up some sago, try our easy 15-minute recipe. Let us know how it comes out, and see you next time.